In this lecture, we are going to look at the controller-processor relationship in a little bit more detail, and specifically we're going to be focusing on this concept of sufficient guarantees. The controller should only be using data processors that can provide sufficient guarantees. So we're going to look at that term and the controls that can help support that. This concept of sufficient guarantees, it comes from Article 28, which concerns the relationship between the controller, the processor, and the subprocessors or subcontractors. The intention of this article is to ensure that data protection principles flow downstream from the controller. So from the controller to the processor to the subprocessors, etc. You'll remember that a defining attribute of the controller-processor relationship is that the processor acts or processes on behalf of the controller. Otherwise, if the processor is taking the data and for themselves determining the purpose and means, the processor may become the controller. So again, this concept that is supposed to flow downstream is of sufficient guarantees. Specifically, what the article says is the following. The controller shall use only processors providing sufficient guarantees to implement appropriate technical and organizational measures that will meet the requirements of this regulation, again, of the GDPR. Examples of controls that help support the sufficient guarantee or that demonstrate sufficient guarantees include contracts, evidence of processor competence, for example, certification, and other assurance mechanisms, such as audits, compliance checks, and due diligence. So a data controller is just not going to go out and willy-nilly hire the first data processor they see. Hey, can you do this? Okay, great. You're an accountant. Sign here. Let's go. Nope. Pump the brakes. You're going to have a contract, as we've already said, and then you're going to look for evidence of competence. How do I know that you are going to be able to provide these sufficient guarantees? Well, perhaps the organization has earned a certain type of certification, such as ISO 27001. This is an IT certification that demonstrates the organization is competent in information security, for example. There are other privacy-specific ISO standards as well, but we're not going to get into those here. And those sufficient guarantees are not a one-off. They are going to be provided throughout the relationship. For example, through regular audits, semi-regular, maybe once a year, twice a year. Those audits are also going to help with compliance checks. Is the processor completing a record of processing activities? Are they completing their own data protection impact assessments, etc.? And of course, before your organization, before the data controller enters into an agreement with a processor, you want to conduct due diligence. For example, give me references from the last 5 organizations that you've worked with. Follow up with those. Learn about them. How is the processor's reputation? Do they have a reputation for doing good work, for being compliant, etc.? In this lecture, we looked at Article 28. Remember, the intention is for data protection principles to flow downstream, beginning with the controller, onto the processor, the subprocessor, etc. The defining feature of this relationship is that the processor acts or processes on behalf of the controller. Controllers should only use processors that provide sufficient guarantees that they can implement the appropriate technical and organizational measures that will meet the requirements of this regulation. This is a requirement in the GDPR. Key concept here is sufficient guarantees. And we concluded by looking at examples of controls that demonstrate these sufficient guarantees. These include contracts, evidence of processor competence, such as certifications, and assurance mechanisms, such as carrying out audits and regular compliance checks.